I will always mourn, and I will admit, and I think the Duffer Brothers deserve more credit for this. We are not getting the show they originally intended. Let us know if it's a happy ending or if you're making a tragedy. But instead, for the first time in the show, they were like, we're going to walk this line to try to be really cute with it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to NewWayStories. My name is Jesse. This is a comedy podcast about culture. That's a new C. Creativity, comics, cinema, all the C's you can think of, except today. We're talking about Stranger Things. And here's the deal. Before you get into this pod, if you are interested in Stranger Things and have not finished it yet, go ahead and stop right now because there's going to be some heavy spoilers. And if you are interested or not that interested, I don't know. Keep listening because I think it'll be fun anyway. And if you have disregarded this message up front, you go on, then I never meant to cause you any sorrow. You know? I
think it's possible.
I never meant to cause you any pain.
We can rebrand this episode the heavy episode, and we could say heavy metal, heavy spoilers, and heavy petting. And I think the crowd will go for
and
that.
You're lucky that we're all four in different rooms.
The heavy petting is only between Jesse and Ben.
Yeah. So, Stranger Things, it happened in an incredible 5 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for TV shows for today. I remember when Game of Thrones came out and everybody was like, I'm watching, it was like that Sunday night. It was dropping. Everybody was watching it. I don't think Stranger Things captured the same thing exactly, but there was quite a lot of excitement for this. And
it was a cultural phenomenon.
A cultural
Yeah,
phenomenon.
for sure.
Like, even I turned on sports radio last night and they were talking about Stranger Things. Like,
Crazy.
we're about ready to go into the NFL playoffs, and they were like, you know what? Let's take 10 minutes to talk Stranger Things. So that is kind of crazy.
And
However,
this just in from the White House.
So with us
There's a lot
today,
of things happening. A lot of things happening. A lot of things people would call strange.
I was going to
A lot of
say,
Stranger Things.
maybe title this episode Conspiracy Theories I've Heard Stranger Things or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. But with us today is Caleb Smith. He is a Stranger Things fan, a Stranger Things lover, and also a believer in crazy things. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I wouldn't say crazy things. I had hope for better tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We did
In
not
Hawkins. So there, if you are not on the Reddit threads, if you watch
Twitter,
Stranger
not on
Things and
Twitter.
like potentially like moved on afterwards and have like a normal life or whatever and don't know, Caleb's gonna fill us in. What's the drama? What's the drama in the ending of Stranger Things?
Yeah, so I mean, I just think a lot of people had a valid complaint, which is that Volume 2 and the finale felt very different from the rest of the show. And so when people ended up watching it, basically to the end, they're like, these dudes did a great job, the Duffer Brothers, great job. 4.5 seasons. And they end up having their ending so different that the fans looked around and they said, there must be something more coming. This is strange. And this is the strangest thing they've made.
Yeah.
So people put together the idea of a Conformity Gate that basically the Duffer Brothers wrote a finale so bad that there had to be a secret ending that was coming. It pieced together all these different parts, which were just production errors that somehow a $1 billion TV show made. It makes sense.
Purple rain.
Rudest thing.
Okay, listen, guys.
It's the
before we
rudest thing we've ever done to a guest.
Before we continue on, listen, I'm already a Prince fan, especially Purple Rain and When the Doves Cry, and I was going to get food by myself while Kate hung out with our newborn. So I was in the car, I had it, I was just by myself. I didn't have a sing along, and I was just singing, and like it was so unsatisfactory when I'm trying to belt Purple Rain and not coming close to the notes at all. I'm like, I want to deliver this with such emotion and feel it. And even myself, as I'm driving down some of you, I'm like, I can't even do it. I'm like, well, we got to stop singing because that's not doing it.
You embarrassed yourself.
I embarrassed
you were by
myself.
yourself, and you.
It just was like, it was such a like.
Turn to the rest of the car, which was no one, and said, "I'm so sorry, guys."
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm like, I guess I only have to like listen to this song in. And I can't sing along and ruin it.
I think that's actually we need to let Caleb talk. But
yeah, I guess
that's actually I think just not a problem. A thing about Prince songs. You're not meant to sing along to Prince songs. You're meant to listen to them.
Yeah.
They're not singable. None of them are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know when to sing the lyrics in When Doves Cry. They come up, they just pop up in random places.
I will say this, though, that when they dropped Doves Cry, and I was like, that's amazing. And then, like, the big emotional thing, it was Purple Rain. I was like, this is top notch.
Okay,
top notch.
That's part of the show.
We're getting ahead of it.
Okay, so.
It was a needle drop.
It was.
That's how they saved it. They were like nostalgia bait.
It was awesome.
Like
so that's, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, it's not the only reason that Stranger Things works. It's not the only reason that Guardians of the Galaxy works, but it's a pretty big bonus.
It's integral. Yeah.
Okay, so
wait, let's let Caleb.
We're not okay with how it ended. What are we not okay with?
So this would be my thing. I have a couple nitpicks that I agree with. I think the crazy people were given breadcrumbs that led to a hole that made them look crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild of them to do it. So every season of Stranger Things, it was a great mystery show. I'm rewatching through season 1 right now even because I was like, am I crazy? Like, did I watch this when I was like 18 and I thought this was better than it is? No, it's better than I remembered it.
Yeah.
Like season 1 is incredible.
So good.
Even season 2, which is like fairly criticized, is still a really good story. Like they do a great job with like developing things. Season 3 and 4 also do the same thing. Season 5, the most high stakes season of all of them, has the lowest amount of tension in the entire show. Like you're watching through it, and by the end of it, based off of some of the tropes they do, you're like, oh, you're not killing anybody.
Yep.
You're not like gonna do any, like they end up killing Elle's sister.
Yeah.
We don't, she's the worst part of the show.
Yeah.
Like they cared about her for some reason because they decided to do like a standalone episode in season 2 and they're like, we love Callie. No one cares about her. Everyone wanted her to die. She actually did not die in a satisfying way. They couldn't even do that right.
Even when Hopper was, they were like, you better tell us where Elle is or we're going to shoot this girl. And I was like, freaking, I don't think
that was the
cares.
Actually let that be the tension of it. So in it, like you end up watching through and I've talked to Darius a little bit about this. Like I know it's hard to end a show like this. My thing is they've done it before. Like, if they didn't want to kill off the main cast, they have introduced every season a random character for a few minutes that you deeply care about. Like, they did a great job at character development. And then they kill them, and you're like, what the heck just happened? Barb from season 1.
Yeah.
She's in the show for like 4.5 minutes.
She's one of the most popular parts of the show.
But in season 1, you're like I remember after season 1 came out, people were like, justice for Barb and all this stuff. I'm like, Barb just was a girl that showed up to a party and didn't want to hang out, like that sort of a thing. Season 2, like building up Billy, having Bob die, like people still remember Bob, even though they skipped that season sometimes. Season 3 with Billy, season 4 with Eddie. My thing is like, you look at season 5 and they obviously were like the main cast. It's going to be like an 80s movie where all the kids make it. They get to win the day. That's cool. You just didn't build any stakes to where we cared about what was happening in the end beyond just like, did they win? And then, major spoiler alert, to have like Elle's destiny at the end be like, we're leaving this as a mystery, just felt like the most non-committal thing they've done. Like, okay, we're going to have it where you don't know if she lived or not because we're not going to commit to killing anybody. but then all of our marketing after the fact is going to say, I believe on it. It's like, let us know if it's a happy ending or if you're making a tragedy. But instead, for the first time in the show, they were like, we're going to walk this line to try to be really cute with it. And it just wasn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel the same as all the other seasons. And then
another thing,
whoever did their production stuff, like the craziest one that people kept pointing out was.
No, I do think we need Purple Rain under this. This is
the dial.
This is so much complaining. I think this does need its own needle drop.
Well,
I'm teasing.
Hit me with.
I'm teasing.
Remind me what the dial means.
So in the radio, where the squawk is, the radio tower place, whatever.
The old tower.
Electric dial that they turn up to fry the Demogorgon.
Oh, yeah.
They show it twice in the season, once in volume 1, once in volume 2. It changes colors. The dial goes from being blue to being red.
Yeah.
And so in this season, you have it where Holly makes the comment when she's in Vecna's mind that she sees the merry-go-round thing. And she's like, it's the wrong color. So then you're just like, hey, our production design couldn't keep our colors straight on other things. So then people are looking and they're like, this isn't right. This must be something. And then my ultimate just like ticked me off thing, which I think Darius will disagree with me on this, but it's fine. Hawkins High School has been shown to be the school colors of gold and green since season 1. And they have like put that in front of at the beginning of this season with the jocks. They show their Letterman's jackets, all this stuff.
Green sleeves.
And their graduation gowns are orange. There's no high school that would do that. Like it's either black or your school colors. And so there's just a bunch of that stuff that also then made it where it's like
now, could you make an argument though? I mean, Dustin is like, what are we even wearing? This is ridiculous. And it's like, could you maybe see where you go in administration is like, you know what? Let's try to get back to normal, but also like erase the past a little bit. Like, let's do something new. I know that you're like, from a storytelling perspective, you're like, what the heck is happening? Also is like a crazy gripe inside of a movie. It's like when you're in space and you're like, oh, you can't actually hear people scream in space. Doesn't matter.
Right.
No, but they've
but you could see
about the high school.
You could see an administration making a really stupid listen. I believe in public school teachers. You're all amazing. I don't necessarily believe in your administration. Like, the dumb decisions are made every single day.
That's a big leap you got to make on your own.
The cap and gown is just a bad.
They must have just decided to change their colors without the show acknowledging it at all.
Well, yeah, okay. You guys are all buying in and carrying on stuff in the wrong things.
Well, if the show
$1 billion TV show that's final set piece, their final big set piece, other than being down in the basement,
sure,
is the graduation, and you decide to not have it be with continuity.
Sure, I can.
Well, you know that they can't do green. You know that they can't do green because you've watched the behind the scenes of one movie before, correct? Okay, so they can't do green because they have this thing called green screen. So you can't do green cap and gowns for everyone. That's literally off the table.
They probably use blue screen for all of this for production purposes.
It's not it's a literal like color range. That's like I don't think you can just like shift that in cinema, can you?
Here's my big point though, and we're gonna need to move on from this because I don't think people are tuning in for us to, this is not a fashion. We're not here to argue about the cap and gown color. And completely negate like Dustin's speech, like, which is the point of the
yeah.
And like, listen, I get it. You can be like, that's kind of this is what it deserves. That's kind of annoying that they didn't like follow through with that.
Right.
And then we move on.
But here's the thing. The thing is, I think if you,
I'm being a bit facetious on purpose, but
yeah. If you were satisfied with the ending. If you watched the show and the ending had been satisfying to you, none of these details would have mattered. That's the ultimate thing. And I think that's the reason, Jesse, you should say what you're going to say, but then eventually we need to actually let Caleb maybe describe more of what Conformity Gate is.
Yeah. Okay. So so we're not satisfied with the ending. Stakes did not seem high enough. And then when we lost Elle, maybe we didn't. That's like an unsatisfying ending, right? That's kind of the foundation that we're working with.
I agree.
Either tell us she's alive or tell us she's dead, but making us pick is kind of lame.
Well, and then you decide to hint in all your post-production stuff that she is alive. That was the thing. Is they're like, oh, only Millie Bobby Brown and us know. And then Millie Bobby Brown does a post and is like, I believe. It's just like, this is a show that's not just encapsulated to like the TV aspect. Like they decided to make it also in the culture. And the culture decided to negate half of the stuff they were doing.
But to be fair, you can't say they decided to make it a cultural phenomenon. You don't make a piece of art or story and say, I'm deciding this is cultural.
I also think that there is some stuff on like marketing where you go, and listen, we see things succeed and fail based on marketing. And you see movies that are way better than what they give. It's like, this is a classic thing, whether you like M. Night or not. Nobody knows how to market M. Night movies. We tried to show my mother-in-law. We're like, listen, Signs is a great movie. Sixth Sense is a great movie. Like, we're going down the list and we like are watching these old previews and we're like, these people don't know how to market M. Night at all. This is a terrible representation of what he does.
Bruce Willis in the best rom-com of 1997.
It's crazy.
Is he a ghost? Or will he find true love? And it's like Stevie Wonder music playing. Yeah.
So I do think like the Duffer Brothers, they probably do have some say in it, but ultimately Netflix is like, in their marketing is they're going to go the direction that they want to go to try to sell. And they don't care ultimately. They actually are loving this.
This is the best thing ever.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I was going to say ultimately they don't care, but I change it. I don't think they could have ever predicted that this was going to happen.
I think the Duffers were like, oh, this is going to be like a fun thing. Oh, do you believe? Or where do you land? It's like a fun conversation. And then it turned into what it is.
So now we're into Conformity Gate? Is that what it is officially called? All right. Caleb, break it down. What is Conformity Gate?
The biggest idea within it is that Volume 1 and Volume 2 feel so different. Like that's what a lot of fans were saying. Like these feel like two separate things.
And I'm sorry, just a clarification. Where does Volume 1 end?
The first four episodes, and then
Volume
the next
1.
Yeah, and then 5, 6, 7, and then the finale.
Got it.
So Volume 1, it ends with Vecna walking into the world, and then he ends up having the moment with Will and all this different stuff. People started to suppose that in Volume 2, it was actually going to be that somehow Vecna was projecting into Mike's mind that entire thing that just took place.
Yeah.
Especially with like a lot of the language around how he like can't like know the future, but he's trying to work on his fears, and his final fear then being, hey, Mike, you end up being alone. Like if you go through with all these things you have to do, you don't get to be with her. Yeah. In that's where some of the like production stuff came in for fans, was where fans were looking and they're like, Vecna gets colors wrong, is wrong. Even like a silly thing is the place where why did I just forget her name? Joyce, where Joyce worked in season 1.
I always forget her name.
It's like a convenience store.
Yeah.
Well, in the play, which is the other terrible thing they decided to do, which was in the middle of all of this, make a play for Broadway that has a bunch of lore in it. It's actually like a malt shop where they would go to.
I mean, what other fantasy world would do a Broadway play that like screws lore over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially posthumously.
I mean,
after you have a very satisfying ending for
that
something.
Whole thing feels like a cursed child all over.
And they release something on Broadway that objectively does suck.
Sorry, keep going.
But in it, like that one ended up showing that store, right, where Joyce worked, used to be that malt shop. Well, Will, he ends up making like a statement in his coming out speech that we used to love riding our bikes to go get like ice cream or whatever from that place. So like fans just started sitting there and they're like, oh, these are things that Henry would have remembered, not stuff that like Will would have. And like even Will says like, we love to get lost in the woods, and people are like, you almost died because
why would you love that?
Yeah, why would you enjoy that? And then even like, I mean, and again, it's storytelling in a way that was really good. Is like even the Mind Flare battle is basically a repeat of how the battle went in season 3. Like even down to Lucas shooting the balloons and stuff. Like it's a good homage that they did. But fans looked at it and they're like, oh, Vecna's must be projecting. This is going to have a false ending now because this is obviously not real. And ultimately what it was is they just didn't land the plane perfectly like people thought they were going to. And I think they did get like, again, it's like the nitpick thing of like, hey, they didn't get some of these production things right. It just sucks that it was the last 4 episodes. Is the 4 episodes in the entire show where it seems like they decided to miss on some things where people were like, we got to be looking for something.
So here's an interesting thing I just heard.
They thought there'd be a secret finale. That was
So just to tie it up with a bow, Conformity Gate is, which I'm sure everyone listening knows because it was all over the internet. If you're on the internet,
I'm not really on the internet, so this is like all first time for me. I just like finished it last night and was like, I literally texted Darius and Ben. I go, I literally don't know what people could be mad about.
But to tie Conformity Gate as a concept up with a bow, it is this idea that the creators made a bad finale.
Yeah.
So that they spent $100 million per episode on a bad finale so that then they could trick us and release a better finale and see. One of my favorite, not to make fun of it, to tie it up with a bow, to see if people would wait for the real finale and then really blow our minds, which would have been cool. Blow our minds with just kidding, it was all a dream. Here's what's really happening.
I swear, finale. if they did an it's all a dream ending, that's where I would have been pissed. Like, so you're copying the Bob Newhart show? Like, what?
Yes.
All a dream.
Roseanne, your writer?
Is the moment where it happens would have been the end of volume 1. So is that kind of the Conformity Gate, like where Vecna would have kind of gone into Mike's mind?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's where, like, I told Darius, I was like, and this is 100% me projecting. I was like, if they had then had a 60-minute extra episode come out where it's Mike opens his eyes and it's back at the point with Will, like before Will goes and defeats the Demogorgon and all this stuff. And it then just becomes like at that complex, they have the final fight because he's like seen what was going to happen. And even if it was like, then it ends with Mike dying or something like that because he's like, I want this for my friends. I want Elle to live. We have to end this now or something. Yeah. Like it would have been possible. Although again, it didn't happen. There is still, if you're curious, there's still crazy people though. There are still crazy people that think the behind the scenes documentary that's coming out on January 12th, they still think that might be a secret finale because of the Nightmare on Elm Street with like the Freddy Krueger movies. Yeah. The final movie for that series was a documentary that was supposed to be a behind the scenes of like Freddy Krueger and the making of all these things. And it ends with him entering the real world and trying to kill the cast. Okay. So there are people who have said their final homage might be, hey, here's this thing, and we're going to give you like a meta ending.
Yeah. So here's the thing. He's projected. Jesus didn't come back on November 12th, 2012. So if you add 2012 and 11 and 12, all the numbers that make up the Gregorian calendar, you get those numbers added up, you get a brand new date, and that's the date Jesus is going to come back on. So just because he didn't come back on the day we said he's going to come back, don't mean he's not coming back this year. So don't stop giving, don't stop tithing, don't stop supporting the mission. Because Jesus be coming back soon,
and, you know, ironically, don't stop believing. Okay, Ben, how do you feel about all of this? Before I get into the Freddy Krueger thing, is the most intriguing thing to me. Again, I think it's I almost used a swear word, crazy, but it's the most intriguing. Ben, how do you feel about it?
I was with you. I finished watching it and I was like, oh, that was great. I mean, I kind of agree. I would have rather them either commit to Elle dying and not have like the whole Mike kind of, oh, well, this happened, because I wasn't even thinking about all those little like, oh, well, the thing was on, so she shouldn't have been able to use her power.
Well, because you're a normal person.
Yeah. And so I didn't think about that, and then they brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, that is weird. And then my sister was like, oh, did you hear?
Can I bring up a question really quick? And this started, I think, mostly with comic book movies and Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
There
didn't used to be.
There's a world where there's Easter eggs, and the ultra nerds are the ones that catch an Easter egg.
Right.
And this is the pre-internet world, right? And this is like this goes back to my beliefs on the Rubik's Cube, where someone goes, "Oh, I can solve a Rubik's Cube." And I go, "Can you, or did you watch a tutorial on the algorithm?" They go, "Oh yeah, I memorized the algorithm from YouTube." You can't solve it. And
nobody else is saying the word tutorial correctly. The way that you're saying the word tutorial is the way that we should all be saying the word tutorial. Did you really learn how to do it, or did you just see a tutorial?
I mean, and so there's that, and then there are a ton of people that go, here are all of these Easter eggs that are like 50 million Easter eggs. I'm like, I thought I was an ultra nerd, and I haven't seen any of these. And it's like, oh, well, because you're on a Reddit thread and you're just like picking all of these things from a million different people and holding them onto your own. My question is, with this, and Caleb, I think you can chime in here.
Wait, I had it. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
No, go for it. It's because that's going to lead it back into Caleb. I think I would have rather the theorizing is 11 alive, and like not acknowledge all those little continuity errors that Mike brought up, and then had the whole I believe moment. Just everyone and the general audience be like, she's dead. That's the end. Sit with it. And then the crazies were like, oh, is she alive? Maybe it's at that point where she sneaks off and they come up with all that stuff. But now it's like, crazy to believe that they made 3 fake episodes.
Right.
Like, they spent $100 million to make 3 fake episodes with a lot of kind of key moments in there.
Yeah, that's
if this were to happen when Vecna kind of walked into the real world at season volume 1, it would have been maybe an episode to have it to kind of spotlight Mike a little more.
It would have been a great climax finale, third act of an episode.
Right.
Exactly. And then
the third act of an episode is all fake.
But they're not going to go a whole volume to trick you.
Right.
That's like it's very.
That's part of the fun of conspiracy theory. That's part of the fun of the conspiracy theory is it's never happened before.
That
doesn't mean it can't happen.
I do kind of agree though with this show this season made you pay attention to things to recognize whether or not it was a vision or not. So I don't like. I'm not like mad at people for jumping to this conclusion. I think obviously
so. Ben is saying they intentionally threw out some red herrings or blue herrings. We don't know.
I don't remember which.
I think they inadvertently did.
They inadvertently did some red herrings,
and that's where I think I just don't think.
I agree.
I think that
inadvertently,
they changed their show because they got bored after 3 to 4 years when it was supposed to already be done, and they decided to try some new things that inadvertently made the watcher change the way they watch the show. Because it did used to, like, we watched season 1 worried about lights and if light bulbs were lighting up. And you go back to season 1 and Mike says bye to Will and one light flickers and he kind of looks up and goes away. When you first watched it, you didn't care about that. But now you're like, oh my goodness, the Demogorgon was there. So like they just ended up changing some of their storytelling in the end. I do think that made it different.
Do we think the characters ever left like their arcs or like the payoffs were not true to the characters?
No.
I think Max did. Max didn't grow up in the final scene. Like Max does not at the very end when Max is like mocking Mike for the way that he tells the D&D story and then she's like being somewhat aggressive about it.
Yeah.
That does not come across as someone who was in a mind palace of a dark lord for
2 years.
You could make an
and had
argument
to-
that she's going to be in Arrested Development after that, but I hear you.
But like she and even with like it felt more like she was acting like her older brother. Like when you go back to season 2 and 3, she tries to be the very sensible one, and in the end, she's like this kind of unhinged for a second teenager, which is fair, but it doesn't feel like Max.
I would say that Max was my least favorite part of the final season because when they introduced her, I was like, "Oh, Max is awesome!" Like I really liked Max like from the get go, and
season
then
2.
Yeah, and so this one, and I know they tried to like have her as an integral part of like trying to be the spirit guide or whatever to Holly, and it was like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I see how you're trying to connect everything, but it was the least satisfying of the characters. So I would agree with that.
I think there's a thing that happens. I personally, again, I'm not trying to be an apologist. I actually do. I really enjoy Max's arc, and I think I understand what you're saying, and it's a if people feel that way about her in the finale in that last scene that she's like being rude to Mike, that's fair. If that's the way people feel, I'm not gonna negate that feeling for them. But I think her arc ends with her and Lucas, and that's the point. Is Mike is like, well, these two people who've really struggled to connect, they end up together, and that's their arc.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think in the final season, in order to get this season to pass the Bechdel test, essentially, it was really important, I think, for the writers to have Max and Holly there solving a problem together and building a relationship without any boys around.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying good or bad on that. I'm saying that probably is why it could have felt like a little forced, is whether or not we thought Max was gonna be that character or needed to be. It was probably important for the writers that they're like, oh, well, we can have these two young female characters talk on screen together in a way that's less common
and figure something out and not do the bad trope of like the only reason a girl is in the scene is so that a boy can save them. Like
that was, I mean, it was the most kind of like mind, I can't even think of a better word.
Blair?
No, the most mind F moment where I'm like, you're in the upside down, you're in the void, you're in the abyss, but they're also in his mind. But I love that. I love their Max and Holly's kind of story there, because it also led to like Vecna's kind of origin, and that was one of my favorite
interesting
parts.
For sure. Okay, I'm gonna lay something out here, and then we'll see how everyone feels. So in science fiction and mystery writing, there are and ingesting in story, the seasons leading up to this, you get to introduce a new problem and then do a temporary, like you've defeated the temporary bad guy, but there's always something looming. And so when a finale always happens, like it's almost without fail. When you go, especially when you drag something out, right? You go, how are we going to put a bow on this? And even come up with, like, I don't know if the Duffer Brothers knew that they were going to go wormhole for the final season when they're shooting season 1 or even season 3, right? Like, I don't know when the wormhole, and even when they were like, it's a wormhole to another planet or whatever, I was like, I don't know. That's kind of dumb, but I get you. Like you have to make a decision eventually, or else you turn into Lost, and eventually no answer is just as unsatisfying as the answer that you give. So you do have to give an answer. So that's a tough uphill battle.
That's the hardest thing about mystery in general. What people prefer is actually no answer.
Right.
But then if you give them no answer, then they get ticked off at you.
Exactly. If you like ended the scene instead of like, is Elle alive, or the season, if it was like, maybe the upside down isn't destroyed, then you're like, well, we went through all that for nothing, right? That's the feeling of that as well. But then you also get to live with the hope of, well, maybe there's another season, maybe Netflix will do what every other movie studio does in 6 seasons in a movie, So I think that there's that you're working uphill against. And so I think the more important thing to do inside of these seasons is to give satisfying character arcs and leave off with the characters. Now, here's where I philosophize, and I'm a glass half full kind of person. I
knock your
left
glass off the counter, break it, and stab you in the eyes with it.
I left.
Yes.
Number one, that kind of reminded me of their mom when she like stabs the thing with her white wine bottle. When I think the line is, "My mom heard it with her wine." Was such an amazing, and that is like one of the things that I've praised Stranger Things for the best. They have the best dialogue that is like, this is a serious moment, but they've worked in a really funny bit when Eddie, they're like trying to find music to help Max, and she's like, I'm trying to find real music, and he's like, this is real music. It's like, this is a very intense scene. You have just said something very funny, and it doesn't undercut the tension at all. So
I think that's what happens when you let Sean Levy work over your script.
it's like, that type of stuff is top notch. So I think the character wrap and where we're leaving these characters is more important than colors on a dial, ultimately from a storytelling perspective, because I think that it is very, very difficult, and actually I'm going to say impossible, to plot-wise tie that up to satisfy everybody. Because like what Caleb is saying, you start doing your own projection. You start saying, oh, I think it's this, I think it's this. And you know what they say about assuming is you never assume the same thing as the producers and directors. It's a classic saying for a reason. So
that's what I'm going to tell my kids.
Here's my other thing. Here's my final glass half full. I walked away. This show came out in 2015, right?
Yeah.
We've been hanging with these characters. We've been hanging in Hawkins for 15 years. Or 10 years, I mean. And you get to like, there's only 5 seasons in 10 years. And so your mind, you are going. And it is almost like like you said, Caleb, you're hanging out with these people when you were 18 years old and you're now 28 years old. There's so much time.
Did it start when you were 18, Caleb?
Has changed.
Is that start the year you graduated?
Yeah, it started with my freshman year of college.
For me,
freshman
year
of college,
18 to 28 was like the most like transformative.
Transformity Gate.
Transformity Gate for me.
We've been living in that world for the last 10 years.
I'm more of a different person 18 to 28 than 28 to 35 is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And,
You're old and your back hurts?
and so, yeah, so that's one of it. But you're like, hanging out with these people is like hanging out with friends from when you were a kid. And the storyline of like them all growing and saying like, it's different. Like it's different, but it's still good, even though the crap that we went through. To me, I was like, that's a perfect ending. And the choice of saying, is Elle alive? Like, I choose to believe. Like, honestly, I took that as like, I'm leaving adolescence. I'm leaving like the good times, the good old times, because you have to, like, life continues to move forward. And you continue to hold on to hope that you're gonna recapture that, like, that moment. My wife and I, we were talking, it sparked a conversation. Every time we've moved to a new town and spent significant time there, we like left and we're like, man, we're really gonna miss those times, but maybe we can capture it in another like city. But I don't think you can. And so like Elle, for me, Elle is dead. Like, she didn't make it. But for those characters, you're moving on saying, I choose to believe, because I want to choose to believe that everything we just did was not for nothing.
Make it spiritual.
and that like leads us to the prodigal son.
I'm all ready to make it spiritual.
All right. So that's when I like saw it, that was my takeaway. Like immediately I was like, oh my gosh, like that, like these kids are growing up and we have grown up with them and now we have to move on. And is there going to be a TV show as good as Stranger Things? I don't know.
Probably.
But I choose to believe.
Eventually.
Well, so can I just throw out my one thing? Because I do.
Please share all the thoughts. Yes.
I think in the end, and like, although I'm the representative of Conformity Gate and all these.
Thank you for
things,
being a good sport, by the way.
My big thing, because I agree. I'm like, they grew up, all this stuff. I will always mourn, and I will admit, and I think the Duffer Brothers deserve more credit for this. We're not getting the show they originally intended because COVID delayed the 4th season by about a year and a half. And then the writer's strike delayed this by another year and a half.
Yeah.
So like they originally wanted this show to be done when these kids were 16, 17. Like actually, not just projecting 25-year-olds as if they're in high school, which is a very 80s thing to do.
Yeah. But like, they go, no, that's actually like our choice. It was like 3 layers of homage to the 80s.
But like,
Wolf Artist, a 21-year-old, is actually there's only been 6 months have passed since season 1. This is what he looks like when he's 12.
Yeah.
Well, like that's where I do look at it, and I give them a lot of grace because I'm like, because they've even admitted they're like, we wanted season 4 to end and season 5 to start, like in that kind of dystopian scape. So I give them so much credit that they did all of that stuff in a way that was good. It still leaves me wanting, which again, anything's going to do. Like I think, and this might be a hot thing to bring in, and we do not need to linger on it at all. Like I think like Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows and stuff, I think that was one of the better endings where it was like putting a bow on all these different things. And they were doing homages to that also with like Horcrux ideas and stuff like that. So that I think was even my thing is I started to get in the mindset of like, wait, they're going to do it. They're going to make something happen. And then they made something happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was what it was. It was $1 billion. It was the most expensive TV show ever made. I had high hopes for it.
Yeah.
I think this is I don't know. This is we're not going to talk, but like when you watch a show and you have your own expectations and you want it to be something.
Yeah.
Like when I came into this, I mean, I was obviously watched every season, but like I wasn't like, oh, I need it to be this. I didn't watch any past seasons, and I just kind of let the show be what they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And so I chose to believe that Elle is alive. In my head canon. In my head canon, she sent a blank postcard to wherever she was to Mike.
Yeah.
As a little hint
to
where she is.
A little waterfall on it.
Yeah.
You know?
And then Mike
she's hiding in Niagara Falls.
Yeah. And Mike went, and then he went there to be an author, and she raised all their beautiful babies and gave their daughter the life that Elle should have had.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
That's my head canon.
Yeah. Sure.
Amen.
And I think that I think the beauty of leaving it open-ended instead of answering all of the questions, I think that most good pieces of storytelling don't answer your questions.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, yeah, I think leaving it open-ended so you can have my opinion, which is the correct one, or Ben's opinion,
which is the incorrect one.
Which is the incorrect one. No,
my opinion, which is crazy.
Yeah. And you're third party. You go, that's the game, this or that Darius and I used to play at summer camp. You go, oh, you're over here if Elle is alive. You're over here if Elle is dead. And in the middle, you're a crazy person.
They're for sure playing that at winter camps this year.
Dude.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's really funny.
I actually do think the point of leaving it open-ended, even like people like my wife, she loved the show, loved the finale. Her only gripe is they didn't tell us Elle is alive. Because in Brittany's mind, you're an absolute monster if you think Elle is dead. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Then you desire a happy ending, and it is technically supposed to be a kids show, so it
sure,
or not kids, but it is geared towards
a family show.
Yeah. So I was like, there was a part of me that was like, well, if you're gonna kill anybody, like Will should have died. Like he came out, and you go, congratulations. Like,
what specific reasons why?
No, like his character arc, right? Is you go, he came out, you go, oh, that's like, I mean, although it was a little bit of my gripe, and I'm not here to like politicize anything, but if you had two characters in the 1980s that came out and everybody was supportive of it.
Right.
I'm just not today. You
That's
can do
the real
that.
fairy
totally,
tale.
Pretty far back.
Totally cool. But in the 80s,
The only one that I would really buy
in Hawkins
is Steve being chill with it.
I actually I did enjoy the when she like is like I like girls. He's like, or I like this girl, and Steve's like, yeah, but she's a girl. What do you?
Yeah, that
and
was
it was
really
like
funny.
this very confusing thing for him. But I think
In season
like
3,
if you're gonna write a tragedy, like Will dies. Like they never save
sure.
Will. All of their
For sure.
efforts. And Elle actually gets to be the representative in Will's place. And he's the worst character, so that would have felt somewhat satisfying.
Well,
Not to his fault. He's just passive the entire time because that's what the story calls for. And they tried to save that a little bit in the end.
Which I think that was intentional. That was like his, like whether they made him boring to you or not. I agree. He's not. He's definitely the
I
more
have
boring
felt
character.
really bad for him just as an actor because I feel like everybody else is springboarded from that show. I haven't seen Will in anything else.
Well, he's in college
all of
right now.
them
Like he goes to
were-
full-time in-person school.
Yeah.
Well, and all of them were actors.
We'll see if that works
were
out.
They were child actors before.
Yeah.
Like most of them were doing Broadway stuff and things like that. And then they got Stranger Things. This was his first thing. Like he was doing auditions in New York
Interesting.
Wow.
and got it. So
I mean-
honestly, I just think it's like child actor syndrome in the sense of you were good at being a 12-year-old. And now you're just a dude.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well,
And honestly,
Can we just-
honestly, if this is his one thing, not bad. Not a bad gig.
Pretty good.
He can
Not a
go
bad
ahead
gig.
and
He's
do
got a
whatever
good-
he wants
Go be an accountant
and still be
in-
fine.
In 40 years, he'll be Ki Hui Kwan. Where we'll be like, oh my gosh, I
Dude,
forgot that dude was in Stranger
like the Duffer Brothers, Sean Levy are still like, yeah, I send a Christmas card to Will every Christmas just to let him know, like, I
name
do
is
think he's
Noah
a good
also.
talent. But it's funny just because you look like there's two musicians, they kind of like leaned into like there's certain things. Like I'm a huge fan of Steve/Joe Curie, like
Joe
in
Curie's
general.
great.
I wouldn't say in general, but yeah, he's good music.
Sadie Sink. Oh, I don't know. I like his music. I like his
I don't
character
know.
is hilarious to me. Sadie Sink is in like an Oscar movie. Like obviously
She's a
Millie
great
Bobby Brown
actor.
has blown up. She's like, if Millie Bobby Brown is in something, I think it gives cash. And then
So-
I think Dustin is. I don't know.
He's a Broadway kid. He does
Yeah,
like
I think
Yeah,
he still
he's
does
back to
Broadway
Broadway.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Which I respect a lot. I think
Gaten
it's cool.
Matarazzo's amazing. Finn Wolfhard, I'm glad he's doing music. And I say this, I don't mean to sound harsh. So I don't know how to say it nicely. His acting in this final season and in season 4 were so rough.
I would give you that. Yeah, I had a couple moments
He almost ruined like one of the reasons that like the blow is softened on him and Elle like not ending up together is their chemistry is so terrible. And it's one of those weird things where he ended up not really being that good of an actor professionally, at least in this. He's
one of the most successful of all of them, I think, at this point, next to Millie Bobby Brown, which is what's wild too.
He's been in It and been in Ghostbusters, and so maybe it's just something he's not passionate about anymore. Maybe he grew out of it, and there was like a special little like quirky thing that he could do when he was a kid, and he never learned how to like bring it into adulthood. I don't know, but on the opposite of that, you have Millie Bobby Brown, who is like legitimately a savant. When she was like 6 or 8, she for fun took an acting class in Orlando, Florida, and after like a week of classes, her acting teacher for like their fun class pulled her parents aside and said, I've never seen someone like this. She's 8 years old and she has instincts that you literally can't teach people. You need to move to Hollywood as soon as you can. Like that's literally how she got into acting. I don't know if I know anyone, another actor like that. Millie Bobby Brown's like a freak of nature. It's very strange. She doesn't even like movies.
Is that because she has the filler? Is that why you're saying that?
This the top lip filler is I think more, but I think you know what, dude. Little girl had to have her head shaved for multiple years of her adolescence. Let that girl have lip filler and cheek filler, dude. Let her wear hair extensions, man. Let her love her life, dude. Jeez. The interesting thing about the spiritual side of the show is to bring it back.
Yeah,
Purple Rain, because somebody this week was like, "Oh, Purple Rain's the perfect song," and I was like, "Yeah, Purple Rain's a perfect song because like it's about a relationship." And because I don't even know the lyrics, and he goes, "Oh no, my buddy told me about it. It's like deeper than that." So I googled it, And Purple Rain is a song about how it's a song about the apocalypse. Like it's a post-apocalyptic themed song about like what happens at the end of the world. And in the song, at the end of the world, red, which is passion. This is from Prince. This is like his description. Red, which is passion, and blood meets blue, which is like sadness and sad things that have happened. And those things meet to make what he calls purple rain, which is, in his words, the ability to move forward through purple rain into faith in God or something else, in love, even through hardship and pain. And I was like, that's actually bonkers, because at the end of it, what people don't, I understand people being frustrated with the ending. I totally respect it. But that's the story that the Duffer Brothers wrote. That's why Elle isn't alive for sure, because the point of the show is when all of these crazy things have happened and you've had to walk through like passion with a group of people and loss with a group of people, at the end of it, there's things that you can't reconcile. And you have to decide, am I going to walk through this and say, I believe in something better? Or are you going to walk through it like Henry did and say, no, I'm going to partner with the darkness and I'm going to hurt other people because I've been hurt. And I know that he's been trying to control me and I don't even care. I'm still going to be evil. Like that's literally the Purple Rain song is the point of the entire show. And for that reason, I do think, even though they may have had hiccups in production, I think they told the exact story with the exact point and purpose that they wanted to tell. Just a story about healing through loss and trauma. Ben, it's my go-to.
I love it.
Wow.
It. I think that'll preach. I do want to end too on the fact that like you can be upset about the final few episodes of the show. I do think that it's a lasting show, right? The 5 seasons, I think it's a lasting show. I think that these conversations are interesting and fun conversations compared to, I think like the last kind of phenomenon was oh my gosh, I just said it earlier. The Dragon one, Game of Thrones. But that the argument of that one where they failed was that they like went back on characters and all of the character arcs that they had built. You weren't just killing off a king anymore or whatever, like, you know, merry-go-round with the leaders. You're killing off the character arcs that you did. And so that was like argument and like outrage of like, I've dedicated my life to this show, and then all of a sudden you've pulled the rug from under us instead of going a direction that like you maybe aren't the biggest fan of, or like maybe production got lost a little bit, which could totally be like and this is maybe just for me being a lazy author, but like I'll have some stuff that I set up early on and then I end up telling a story and never really pay off that like one thing in like the early chapters. But I'm also like, it's also not that big of a deal. Like it's like 3 lines. Like no one will remember this. No one reads the book, so it doesn't matter that much. But I'm sure if it becomes a Netflix thing, it'll be a bigger deal.
People will hate it.
Exactly, and that's what you hope for is you build something big enough that people will hate it.
Caleb is an emotionally aware person, and he has said this to me a couple times this week. He's like, look, I am so like frustrated and disappointed because I love it so much.
Yeah.
Because I care so much. That's what I love about this.
Yeah.
Is you've got people who are like, yeah, I'm picking all this stuff apart because it's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah. I love it. Caleb, any last Ben, do you have any last words?
Are you going to kill me after this?
No. Tell me your final words on Stranger Things.
I love it. I mean, I don't think I have anything to say. It's a great show. I enjoyed it. I feel great about it. I believe that she's alive. I think you're crazy if you think that after volume 1 that it's it's all a dream. That's a crazy thing to believe.
It was only just a dream. What song is that?
I don't know.
That's Nelly, I think.
You sing poorly, so I wouldn't even.
Yeah, I think it's Nelly and Beyonce. Yeah. All right, Caleb, hit us. What's your final thoughts? We're gonna give you the last word because we're good hosts.
Oh, I would just say again. I think
After calling you crazy for an hour,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. Once January 7th passed, I woke up, so I don't think it anymore. But no, I think Stranger Things is great. I do think it's great. I think the Duffer Brothers did a good job. I still say what I said earlier. I mourn the fact they did not get to write the show with child actors at the pacing they wanted to. I think it would have been a better show. I don't think that actors would have become. I think they became bored with it possibly in some ways. I think they became comfortable with it. But like, I think it's really good. And I think at the end of the day, if I was to like find a way to really like the ending, I really like the ending because of Mike. Because you do have it where you have a character who's gone through all of this crap, and basically he has to be the bigger man for all of them. Like he's looking at all of his friends and having to put all of it into perspective. Ooh. He's having to bring himself to a place that he can move forward. And he doesn't get a happy ending, but he still gets to be a part of the story, and he's still okay with that. So that part's really cool for me, and maybe that speaks to our lives as well. We don't always
Here we go.
The ending.
Here we go.
But we get to be a part of the story, and that's really worth it at the end of the day.
That is awesome. Woo. I feel like I dropped the ball.
Heaters.
We were gonna play the game potentially of Will That Preach, where Ben gives us a prompt. You guys just played the game anyway.
Yeah.
And I just half-heartedly was like, well, the prodigal son, because if you don't have a message ready, you can just do the prodigal son. And it's pretty easy.
That's so awesome.
Man, yeah. So that's awesome. I will say this, that I am excited for what the Duffer Brothers do next. Did you guys ever watch Beyond the Pines, Place Beyond the Pines? Their previous adventure.
Oh.
It's based off of a book series called by Blake Crouch. And it's cool. It's got Matt Dillon in it. I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons on Fox. Pretty solid. Kind of a thriller, mystery sort of thing. Based off of, the Blake Crouch novel. So it wasn't like purely their thing, but I thought it was a cool show.
What's it called again?
I think it's called The Place Beyond the Pines. Unless that's the Gosling movie.
That's the Gosling movie.
Yeah. In which case, Wayward Pines is what I meant to say. You could watch Place Beyond the Pines. That's 2.5 hours, and you go, "Oh God, Bradley Cooper's in this." And that's pretty much you go, "Oh, Gosling's dead, and Bradley Cooper's in this." That's interesting. That's not the movie I signed up for. Speaking of bad marketing,
couple things that are really important. One, there is a Duffer Brothers new original story coming to Netflix next year.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know how intentional this is, but all of the cameos they had for Stranger Things were all famous 80s actors. All of the mains that I've seen pictures of from the new show are all people that were famous from the 90s.
Nice.
Which I'm just really excited about.
Nice.
It would be fun to see what they do. 2, you said Bradley Cooper. I really can't wait to watch Is This Thing On?
Is This Thing On, yeah.
Freaking can't wait to watch that.
Was
3.
Really surprised that I'm hearing like some pretty mixed reviews on movie people that I appreciate. So yeah, I know that's I'm definitely like Will Arnett himself is worth a watch for me.
Yeah. Laura Dern. Anyway. And then also on top of that, I watched Anaconda. And it was freaking hilarious.
Yes. Now, when are you going to watch the Jack Black one?
Dude,
that's awesome.
I'm telling you. It's like it felt like the return of an Adam McKay movie.
Ooh.
Like it was stupid. It was pointless. It went directions that it never should have gone. Nothing made sense. It didn't have to make sense. And it was just funny, dude.
I'm very excited.
Funny.
Very excited for it. I think when you were talking about the Duffer Brothers really quick, I think we should do a pod on like best siblings in Hollywood. I mean, you got the Duffer Brothers, you got the Coen brothers, the Russo brothers, the Wachowski
sisters.
The Nolan brothers. They're not really. They should be the Nolan brothers, but they're not the Nolan brothers.
Well, Uzi gave me this idea because
the Farrelly brothers.
Farrelly brothers.
After the last episode, the Unsung Hollywood
Fairly
Heroes.
Odd Parents. Sorry, keep going.
the actors that like the directors always use, always in their movies. That's fun.
That is a fun. That's a fun thing as well.
Like Samuel Jackson was Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That was about an hour, a little over an hour.
Yeah.
It was like a normal episode of Stranger Things. I started quoting.
This was all a dream. At the beginning of the episode,
yeah. Now we're gonna do our real episode.
It was blue candle.
I started quoting Monty Python, The Holy Grail, with like 3 or 4 other people. And like 20 minutes in, I was like, the best thing about this movie is not actually watching this movie anymore.
No,
but it's like whenever you get with friends that love this movie, you literally just hang out for the next 2 hours and quote the movie line for like, you go, instead of watching the movie, let's just like say our favorite parts out of order. Yeah, right. So
that is so true.
Caleb, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a ton of fun, and man, next time you're passionate about something, let's do it again.
Sounds good. Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Done. All right. Like, subscribe, do all of that stuff if you are feeling crazy, and we'll see you next week.
Comment your conspiracies.
Comment your own conspiracies. Yeah, this is like up there with like, JFK shot himself,